Sorry for the hold. Let's get to Vince in California. Again, Vince, you're live on line 4.
Good morning, John.
Good morning, Vince.
Sorry about the previous call. I had some technical difficulties on my end of things. But, hey, I live in Bakersfield. My representative is House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. And needless to say, John, I'm really upset at McCarthy right now. As soon as Mo Brooks made the announcement several weeks ago he was going to back our president, McCarthy should have been right on his heels. And to my knowledge, he has still not made a thumbs up on how he's going to, or what he's going to do to help our president today. On top of that, the veto override of Trump's military bill a couple weeks ago, McCarthy took the cowardly way out, did not vote at all, did not do a yes or a no. And here's a guy that needs to fall out of political grace with us deplorables. Believe it or not, there's a lot of deplorables here in California. And I think much more so than showed up in the election. I know we know about the voter fraud in Arizona and Georgia, and the list goes on and on. Mm-hmm. There's rampant voter fraud here in California. Mm-hmm. And my point is, Trump needs to find somebody to primary McCarthy in 2 years. I'm fed up with him. I am fed up with him. He's great in front of the camera. He talks a great game. But just like Lindsey Graham, you better do more than just talk the game. You better walk the walk.
When push comes to shove, they didn't do crap.
Nope.
They didn't do crap, and they thought somehow if they just play along with the Biden phony election, somehow that Biden would play ball with them and they'd get more money from donors, and some soccer mom in an SUV in Gwinnett County was going to change their vote for them and send them money, driving around in a BMW SUV. That's what they thought. It didn't work. It never does, Vince. And so you're right. You got to fight. We have the votes. This is what I keep telling people. We're in charge now. We're not in charge of the country. We're in charge of the party because we have the votes. Anybody we primary, if we get up off our butt, that person who's primaried will lose. We got 70 million voters. What do they have? Karl Rove? Are you kidding me? You're right, Vince. Spot on. Thank you. Let's get to line 3. Julie in Nashville. Julie, you're live, line 3.
Hi, John. How are you?
Good morning, Nashville? Julie. Now, wait, Julie. I'm sorry, but you're from Nashville, and I'm a diehard Tennessee Titans fan, and I know we're going to beat the Ravens Sunday. I just know. You know what? I am more confident about this game than I've been in a very long time when the Titans are playing a big game. I know they're going to win. The defense is going to show up. I think they're going to the Super Bowl. I'm pumped. Go ahead.
I hope so. I definitely hope so. We need all the wins we can get, can't we?
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to say that, yes, last night was really bad, but we knew it. We knew it as soon as, on election night, that they said a pipe broke in Georgia. Mm-hmm. But I think it's time to let every single Republican know they have just lost their power and they're going to lose it. I think they were hoping to make sure that they still had the majority, but Mitch is losing his power. And he better get a backbone and call for an audit. I bet you they'd be surprised how many Republicans actually won in the November election.
Julie, classic, right? We don't really know. What we do know, though.
No, we don't.
We don't know. I mean, that's the bottom line. We don't know, and maybe we never will. Go ahead.
Well, if they actually would do an audit, even in California, as Vince said, I bet you they'd find that they have the majority in the House and the Senate. So maybe that will make them reconsider contesting today and to actually do a proper audit.
Wouldn't it be ironic, Julie? Wouldn't it be ironic if, let's see, we're looking at the numbers now. Loeffler's down by, 50,000 she's done. Purdue's down by 16,000. More votes are coming in for Ossoff. But wouldn't it be ironic if now if one of these said, "Hey, there was fraud. We need to contest it." Wouldn't that be the grand irony, right? And wouldn't that show you the spinelessness and cowardice of these candidates? Another profile in courage.
Oh, they were. It's just this whole thing. The blind eye is just. I've never seen anything like it. I just. It's bizarre, and I just think keep calling your senators, keep calling your congressmen, make sure they know that
we're
they're
coming.
in trouble.
We're coming, Julie. Julie from Nashville. You're right. Hey, we're coming.
Yeah, this better be a wake-up call.
This is the message.
McConnell.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're coming.
Yeah.
We're coming. We're coming for McConnell. We're coming for McCarthy. We're coming for the feckless losers of the Republican Party apparatus. We're coming for those that scheduled a resort meeting in Amelia Island today, in a resort while Rome is burning, and we got this big rally, and it's all dependent on Pence. Oh, we're coming. Julie, we're coming.
Right.
Thank you.
This was a shot fired by Georgia.
Hey, Julie, thank you. And by the way, go Titans. Let's get to Randy in Richmond, Virginia on line 1. Randy, you're live.
Yeah, hi, John. Thanks again. Hey, question. I think probably we're not going to see Trump in office, which, of course, I'm not looking forward to. But moving forward, we can say we need a plan A, B, C, and whatnot. Where is a unambiguous communications platform that conservatives can put together and have control of? If we can't use Twitter, we can't use Facebook, Instagram, we need a communications platform where we can rally our troops in truth and in focus. We don't have that right now. We can't use any of these social media platforms because they're not controlled by us. So, I mean, anytime you have, the enemy can disrupt communications and just mess everything up for the effort. So where is our communications platform where all conservatives can point to and can get truthful, reliable information from on how to strategize and attack?
Well, I think that's going to be coming. To answer your question honestly, if I had to answer that right now, Randy, and there's a lot of good things. I mean, I started 2 newspapers, the Virginia Star, GeorgiaStarNews.com. You get good information there. But if I were to give you the number one format for that right now, it would be a combination of my radio show and Steve Bannon's War Room, because Bannon's War Room is giving us the blueprint for action. And a lot of what they do comes. This is why I'm on at 6 to 10. He's on at 10. I get the callers. They hear the show. They react to that. They go forward. Right now, until we get another platform, that's it. But certainly it's not the RNC, because they're in Amelia Island having cocktails with umbrellas on them.
Well, I just think that needs to be emphasized and consistently emphasized so that more and more, not everybody, to be honest with you, with all due respect, not everybody listens to your show. Not everybody that's a conservative listens to Bannon, so we need to get the word out on where is our communication platform, and then we cannot change that and move it around because a moving target, nobody wants to follow that. So we need to have consistency, we need to have focus, we need to have centralization, but we need to have something that people can rely on because, right now, again, with all due respect, you're making headway in that direction, but not all conservatives recognize that's the situation.
Well, there's the traditional conservatives, and then there's the America First movement radicals, and that's where we come in. We're the deplorables. The traditional conservatives, they look at us as just a pain in the ass. That's all we are.
Okay, we're fighting with definitions. I don't mean to say that. I think there's a lot of when I'm saying conservatives, I mean people.
No, I'm with you. Look, okay. Randy, I understand what you're saying. Until we get that format, but I think we're getting there. And I said this the first week I was here. Our movement has eclipsed its current leaders. We need to get new leaders. What the format is to bring all that together, I think that'll formulate over time and be recognized, because this is the great shakeout. You got a shakeout of politicians. You also have a shakeout in the media. I mean, 2 years ago, the big four, Fox News, done. Breitbart, done. Drudge, done. And Rush Limbaugh retiring. Those big four are out. They're going to be replaced by who we'll find out. Randy, RVA, thank you. Let's go to Boston, Massachusetts, where we have John on line 2 in Boston. John, you're live.
Good morning, John. How you doing?
Good, Johnny.
Good. I just want to say you're doing a God's work down there. You're really doing a great job.
Thank you.
I think last night should be it was the last nail in the coffin, pretty much. I mean, I'm sitting up here in Boston watching this all unfold down there, and it was just so predictable to see it coming. And I called the local show up here in Boston a couple of weeks ago when they were saying, "Oh, this might be a different story now that Trump is off the ticket." Blah blah blah. And I said, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result to come out of it. And that's exactly what has happened. I mean, these people just sitting on their hands, and they don't want to take any action, John. And it's really upsetting to see, to just watch this fraud go on all over the place. And I think it's really sad to see Kelly Loeffler come out the other night in a last-ditch effort. Now she wants to stand next to Trump, and stand behind Trump, and it's just so phony, and there's nothing behind those words. And she was a day late and a dollar short, to be honest, John. And my last point, I think this Stacey Abrams, somebody needs to look in, because she single-handedly changed the game down there in Georgia. Between her and her sister, I think there's definitely some shady business going on down there. So I think she definitely needs to be looked into, John.
You know, you made an interesting point. They lost with Trump not on the ticket. That does show something.
Oh, yeah. See, they thought, Christine, thank you. You're so right.
Trump on the ticket, and
because,
then Trump
because,
off the ticket.
Because they thought, okay, without Trump on the ticket, if we just run away from him, we'll go to the rally and we'll get booed, but because his people will show up anyway. But then if we're just not there, I'm going to get the soccer mom in Cobb County with an SUV. Okay, didn't happen, right? Didn't happen. They got beat worse than we did. Unbelievable. John, Boston. Thank you. Spot on.
Right.
John.
The deplorables are not dumb. And
John, thank you. We have the best callers, and I told the president this. I'm like, Mr. President, I get the best callers in America. They're your voice. They talk for you every day. Let's go to Adrian in Holly Springs on line 4. Adrian, you're live.
Hey, John. Just love your show. Love the War Room. And just a quick aside, I was at the Wills Park thing, and I have to apologize. I didn't know who you were at the time, but you were standing right in front of me. I was the guy with that boonie hat on.
Oh, yes, Adrian. I do remember that in Alpharetta.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was the vet there with the sign.
Yes, thank you. I remember you because you were standing right in front of me with that hat.
Yep.
That's right. Boy, that seems like... Does that not seem like a lifetime ago, that rally in Alpharetta?
It does. It does. And so much has happened. My gosh. But listen, I am blessed to live in the 21st District of Georgia. So Beach Balls is my senator.
Beach Balls?
Yep. Is my senator. So, and we have a new Representative-elect Brad Thomas, who's been right there with him. And I just read that Barry Loudermilk has decided to object to the Georgia electors. So I'm a very happy fellow right now. As far as my representatives go, obviously very disappointed.
Who's your new representative? I have to get him on my show. What's his name?
Is Brad Thomas. He's a Navy vet, stand-up guy.
See if you can find me his number and text it to me. All right.
I'll do it.
Text it to us. Our text number here at the at headquarters 757-692-1710. 757-692-1710. 1710. Nope. 757-692-1710.
Okay, will do.
Yeah, text me his number. I want to get him on tomorrow. I've not met him, but beach balls, man. I love that guy. He's not even a Trump guy. The guy gave money to Jeb Bush. He's a transportation establishment Republican, but he was pissed when all this happened, and he said I'm done with this.
Yep.
And that guy's. I mean, he's been it. Hashtag beach balls. Thank you, Adrian Holly Springs. You're represented well. A lot better than I am. Let's get back to New England. I guess New Englanders have nothing to do now that the Patriots are out. Let's get to William in Hartford, Connecticut, line 3. William, you're live.
I just want to thank you very much for the work that you're doing. And I'd just like to make an observation that we can talk about politics by idea and politics by power. And we could try to manipulate, reconstruct the Republican Party. But if it's not done with power, nothing will be accomplished, because by the time we get in 2 years, the whole structure will have been readjusted, and I don't know if we'll be able to recoup. And I really approve of the heroic work that some of the people are doing, trying to support and bring illumination and bring light to the situation. But I think we need to have power too. And the Republic. I remember in the 1990s, Russ used to, when we had the Republican Senate, legislature, and presidency, he said you have to destroy the Democrat Party, and they refused to do that because it was a party of ideas and not a party of power. And the Democrats are now in power, and they're going to squash us. And I'm afraid that actually it's going to, when you look at what's taking place in New York and in other places like that, they're going to come after Trump. They're going to come after the people of ideas because that they don't want that.
Thank you, William. Spot on. That's why we have the best calls in America. Thank you, William. John Fredericks Radio Network. Stay with us. We're live in Atlanta. Everybody on hold, stay with us. Let's get to Mike in Florida on line 3. Mike in Florida, you're live.
Hey, John. Thanks for having me on. Hey, I just want to point out how incompetent and corrupt Karl Rove is. But I don't know how much money they...
Wait a minute. But would you say that again, Mike, so we can just let it sink in? Just say that again.
I just want to point out how incompetent and corrupt Karl Rove is. So how does a Republican lose a runoff in Georgia? Okay? Only by giving horrific advice. And I don't know how much money was raised off these races, but I'm in the investment business. I'm lucky to make 1% of the money that I raise. I think these guys make between 20 and 30.
Yes.
Which is ungodly. So he just got rich after running the most incompetent campaign, and you've been saying it, for a month now. All they had to do was call for a special session and say, "I back Trump,"
and they win,
right?
Yeah, and they win. But Karl Rove bought another yacht.
And it's like, look, I was talking to a tech executive yesterday, and he gets the impression that everybody just wants to go back to the way it was pre-Trump, and none of them get it. It's never, ever going back.
Never.
Ever.
Ever.
And you can either hop on board with radical, power-hungry leftists, or you could get on the Trump train and fight tyranny.
That's what we're going to do. We're going to fight. You know, they think we're going to go away, and we're just going to give them money, and then when they want us to vote, we come out, we do the voting, we put flyers on doors, we do door hangers, we make phone calls, you know, we do the dirty work, and then they get in and they go to Goldman Sachs and kick us in the teeth. That we're done with that. Out of the ashes shall rise the phoenix. We look. You have the power to control this party. They don't. They think they do. After today, they don't. Go ahead.
John, I just want to give all the listeners a little bit of good news. I think Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema are going to be the left's Mitt Romneys. And I think the money behind the power in the left, they don't want supermajority. They don't want single government. They don't want a lot of these things that are be talking about by the radicals. I'm sure they want judges and other things behind the scenes, but I don't think communism is coming, right? So I could be wrong, but I think the left are about to hate Joe Manchin the way we hate Mitt Romney.
You know, Mike, though, I think the second one you said is going to be the game-changing senator, and that's Kristen Sinema in Arizona. I think you nailed that because
acutely aware. I think she's acutely aware of what her voters and her constituents want, and I think she wants to be a long-term senator. And I think she thinks for herself.
Yep. Yeah. Remember,
she wants to be governor of Arizona or vice president too.
Well, she could be any of that because she is her own person. And remember, what is it? It was one of the Trump addresses in Congress, and they all came in the white suits.
The very beginning,
and she didn't have white suit. She had like a blue she had a blue flowing dress on. It was kind of funny because she does think for herself, and she could be, you know, she could really be a thorn in their side. Plus, she's not a liberal. That's the other thing. Right. Her core is not liberal. Never was. Thank you, Mike in Florida. Very insightful.
And that is something we need to do. We need to make a couple Mitt Romneys.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
And of course, Joe Manchin's already said, I'm not voting to pack the court. I'm not voting to make Washington a state. I'm not voting for Puerto Rico. So he's already said that. So thank you, Mike. Let's get to Paul Thiel in Mechanicsville on line 2. Paul, thank you for your sponsorship. Always appreciate it. Paul, you're live.
Hey, John, thank you. Good to hear you down there fighting. You know, it's instead of first and 10 on the 50-yard line, it's first and 10 on the 1-yard line with 99 yards to go.
We got the ball. But we got the ball.
That's correct.
And there's 7 minutes on the clock, and we got three timeouts. So we're in good shape.
Well, I want you to know how hard we worked for you in Virginia alone. You know, we knocked on hundreds of thousands of doors and made hundreds of thousands of phone calls and whatever else. But the preposterous end of that is Virginia did not lose by 400,000 votes. It did not happen.
I agree.
There's something else out there that's happening, and I blame it on the machines, hackable machines that are in these Democratic precincts that can be changed at the last minute to whatever number they need. They can put it in the machine and get it. And it's happening. Until these machines get out of life for all of us, we can work our hind parts off and not make enough progress to win. They do not want us to ever win again, and their machines is their big line of defense, not the last line of defense. They know going into a vote that they've got it made, and they can hang back with the same modus operandi, wait until we hold back a big county or two until we determine exactly what we need to win. These machines have got to go. And how do we get rid of them?
Well, Paul, I don't know the answer to that, but I want to thank you for your comment. I think Biden did win Virginia. I know how hard you guys worked for our campaign, for the Trump campaign there. But I know we didn't lose by 400,000 votes. I just know it. No. It was just, we got 2 million voters out. We didn't lose by 400,000. Maybe it was maybe it was $150. but it wasn't 400,000 votes. We didn't
right.
lose, but it's actually 450. It's almost 500,000. We
Okay,
didn't do it.
I know
Well,
how
listen,
you can be in the room with the machines. By law, official Republicans are allowed to be in the room, and you can become an election official. And how you do that in Virginia, you have a very small window in Virginia going on where you have to go.
I hear you, but
to
we
your
could have
mass
had
meeting.
8 million observers, and if they weren't allowed in a room and closer than 6 feet, you can do all you and say all you want about observers.
Well,
you have to
they
change the
they
laws.
leverage the
Listen,
COVID
honey,
thing.
It's bogus. It does not work.
No, you're right. And we've already proven that there's machines where you input the ballots and you get a different number that comes out. So these machines have got to go. Unfortunately, the Democrats in Virginia are not going to make any voting changes. In fact, they're going to vote for mail-in ballots, mail-out ballots, this ballot, drop boxes.
Forever.
Yeah, whatever, because it's all about power. So we have to fight back. Well, Paul, thank you. So, Paul,
just real quick, we have a fighter in Virginia, and it's going to be a fighter. It's not preordained that McAuliffe's going to win the governorship. We have a great fighter. The Republicans don't like her. The establishment Republicans don't like her. It's Amanda Chase.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, John. Crazy.
All right, Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. All right, let's get to Adrian in RVA. Adrian, you're live, line 1.
Good to hear your voice again. Happy New Year's to you and your family and such. I know you're not a big fan of this, but I know you did. I know you put the names out there of these state senators in Georgia. And I think that was very noble of you. I know you had a hard time and you kind of juggled with that, but you finally got off your butt. You did it, and I appreciate that. I know what I'm calling about is kind of ticky-tack, but I think it's important because this is what the Democrats do. They give them an inch and they take a mile. I've heard you say it. I've heard a lot of people on your program say this. Yesterday, and I know this is kind of off topic, but yesterday, Congress, on the floor of Congress, we're now allowed to say father or mother. We have to say parent. We have to say child. We cannot say daughter or son anymore. So this is what I'm calling about is that I would like to know what Republicans, if any, voted for that. Because I'm all about what your callers are saying. All your callers today are on point. They're doing a good job as well. And my point is, we need to call these congressmen that voted for this, that are Republicans, and ask them why they're voting for this. I'm all about calling these people now. I think that's a strong message we can send them and bombard them with messages and phone calls and such. Because I know it's a ticky-tack thing, John, and I know it's not the big topic, but this is how they get their way. They start chipping away at little things like that, like they did the school systems, like they do the college systems, like they do in the military now. They chip away, and Republicans are fighting these big battles over here, but the little battles, they're whooping our butts. They're playing 3D chess while the Republicans are playing tic-tac-toe. They're not even playing checkers. And it's just sad to see that we're allowing this to happen on our Congress floor, the people's house. And I think you need to do that. I think that's a good way. I know it's not the nicest way of doing things, John, but I think it's the way to do it. And we need to get the names of all those Republican congressmen that voted yesterday yes on this to pass, because we need to start letting them know this is not the way it's going to work. And I appreciate you getting that off my chest, and I appreciate what you're doing, John, and y'all keep going, and I appreciate everything. God bless America.
Thank you, Adrian, and thank you for the call. 888-480-JOHN, live in Atlanta. Let's get to Tim.
I want to make one comment about that.
Go ahead,
with the
Christine.
names and the phone numbers.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's public information. It's on the web page. Everybody can go find it. So it's actually your phone number and your email addresses, because it's you're a taxpayer and that they're your representatives. So calling them is not
Well, I don't look. I had to. The names are now public. Okay, the 9 people who said they would sign the petition, those names were not made public. And there was a couple of them that maybe thought they were going to do it, but so I had to struggle with getting the right number and calling a bunch of different people and confirming it. I don't like to do that, but I felt that I had to. That's why I put it up there. And one of the senators, Renee Unterman, said, well, she would have signed it, and I didn't put her name on it. But anybody can say they would have. I just went with the 9 who gave a commitment that from several people that said they would. Let's get to Tim in Thomasville, Georgia. Tim, you're live on line 3.
Respectfully, from day one, you and Steve Bannon have been preaching action, action, action. And like I said, respectfully, that has not come out of the Trump camp. I don't understand when Trump does good, Trump is his own man. When Trump does bad, it's the people around him. Now, which is it? Why has Trump have this in action even before the election? Raheem had an article posted about how they were telegraphing what happened, back in September. So where is Trump in all this? Why? How come he doesn't have any responsibility for his inaction? You and Steve have been preaching action, action, action. And Trump has done nothing, not one thing. Christopher Wray is still the FBI director. Why is that? We have to start holding Trump accountable for his inaction.
The buck stops with him, Tim. You're absolutely correct. I'm going to say it again.
Thank you, sir.
I'm going to say it again, Tim. The leadership, the movement that we represent has eclipsed all of its current Republican leadership, except for a handful. And they're all going to want the mantle. Lindsey Graham, Mark Meadows, starting a consulting firm in K Street, making millions of dollars while Rome burns. We're done. We're done with them, okay? The president should have gotten a special counsel in there, got the votes that he couldn't get fired, should have got one to investigate Hunter and Joe Biden, should have got one to investigate this election, should have fired Ray, should have brought him in his office and fired him and had the cameras in, fired him publicly. He didn't do it.
I thought he should have a table up, just like The Apprentice, and bring
fire,
him in.
just
Every week
fire
there's a
them.
new one in. You're
and
fired.
Say, until you get me a special prosecutor, you're fired. Next, do a special prosecutor. Who's down the line? Deputy, secretary, deputy, third deputy. Keep going down. Fire them all.
Right.
Get it done. He didn't do that. He didn't do it. And even in Georgia, now he was tough on Kemp and them, but he played footsie with Perdue and Loeffler. We were telling them for 7 weeks what they had to do. He should have just called them out and said, hey, you want me to come down? You come on the record now. They wouldn't do that either. He wouldn't do it. So, look, the buck stops with him. Thank you, Tim, in Thomasville, Georgia. Let's get to Silas from Tampa, Florida. Line 4, Silas, you're live.
Hey, John, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. You're doing a great job. One of the things that I wanted to say was just that, as you've been saying, we're eclipsing our leadership.
Yep.
And I totally agree with that 100%, especially Mitch McConnell and having him potentially lose that speakership is going to be, or not speakership, but his leadership in the Senate. That's going to be,
the power's gone. Right.
Yeah, the power is going to shift now, and he's going to have to really consider whether or not he's going to be on the Trump train with us or not. Also, I think it really
he's not. He's not. So we're going to get rid of him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not.
Yeah. We're going to have to get rid of him.
Silas, as bad as last night was, we saw it coming. We predicted it for 7 weeks.
Sure.
I was here 3 days.
Sure.
I started telling everybody we're going to lose. But here's the bottom line.
I watched it live. Yeah.
Go ahead. I mean, McConnell.
I watched it live.
McConnell drove the strategy, drove the consultants, drove the messaging. Yes. McConnell drove it all.
Exactly.
He did it all.
Well, McConnell's driven the White House
and I
from
think
day one.
It's going to set up. It's going to set up for a big issue today. I mean, as they go into the joint session, because I think these guys are going to have to really reconsider their positions, and begin to challenge this, because our only
they're kind of backed in the corner
is
now.
Going to be Pence. It's going to be Pence in the Senate staying as vice president, because he's going to be able to break every tie that they're going to have now. Because we know that the leadership in Georgia isn't going to do anything about these two races, because they didn't do anything about the presidential race. So it's just going to be the same story over again.
Right. The deplorables with this move in Georgia has put the rhinos like Pence in the position where they have to protect Trump now. They have to protect our movement.
Correct.
Right?
And it's probably, as bad as it sounds, it might be the right move, because this is going to really show those who are with us and those who are against us.
Exactly,
today.
and we're gonna see what Pence does, and if he kicks this down the road and says, "Oh, my lawyers say I can't do it," that's the end of him. Have a nice life with Karen. You'll never get elected dog
You'll
catcher
never be
again.
elected again,
Yeah,
right?
see, you can't get nominated without us. It's over, Silas. This whole nonsense with McConnell and them, it's over. We have the power, they don't. And the power is you. Thank you. I got one more caller this segment, Kara. Let's get to Rufus, the Democrat, my good friend, on line 2. Rufus, you're live.
Good morning. Good morning and Happy New Year, John.
Thanks, Rufus.
My normal tag is "It's a great day to be a Democrat," but I'm a bit sympathetic to you today. I know you put an awful lot of hard work and effort into the Georgia election. I think what has happened is it's a repudiation of Trump and just the Republican Party in general when you have Georgia taken both of those seats. There's going to be plenty of time for a post-mortem, but I think the big issues right now are the Republicans sort of flip-flopped. They came out, wanting to do the $2,000 stimulus when those sorts of things were never in their palm. They just started plucking things out of the air. And, for years, people have accused the liberals of being socialist and, wanting to give everybody away money. And then all of a sudden, when the stimulus package comes through, there's the $2,000 stimulus that Trump put out there. I think that was the kiss of death, because you knew that principled Republicans were never going to go along with that. And it gave the Democrats an easy win because they said, we're going to do that for you. I'll be honest with you, I don't need the $2,000. Hopefully you don't need the $2,000. I would rather see the money go to people who need it and programs where they're going to help people, roll out the vaccine, get people vaccinated, get the economy back going again. So in one sense, I'm happy that the Democrats won, and in another sense, I do feel that there always does need to be a check to the power. Hopefully people like Mnuchin will do that. I'm a Democrat, and I'm proud to be one, but I'm not a socialist. And I know Barry in Warriors Cave has called me a socialist on a number of occasions, and that's simply just not the truth. I'm a principled Democrat, just like you're a principled Republican. So, it's time to get to work. I think we need to get behind the president, being Biden, and make things happen. What do you think?
Well, until Biden puts his hand in the Bible on January 20th, he's not the president. So we're going to have to see what happens today with Pence. But look, you're right. You're a man of principle. I know you a long time. That's why we appreciate your thoughts. But if that happens, we become the opposition. But it's not going to be the opposition like the Democrats were with Trump. We gotta take the Republican Party and rip it up by its roots. Yep. Throw it in a fire pit, buy a gallon of gasoline, and watch that sucker burn down. And it's going to be painful.
Well,
but out of the ashes for us, this isn't about you and the Democrats. We have to take our party over, just like you guys had to do what you had to do. Out of the ashes will rise the phoenix. But we got to this thing, what McConnell did, the messaging, the $2,000, the whole thing was a disaster from the day I got here. And so we're done. And so we'll see what happens. But, look, Joe Manchin, I think, is going to be a little bit of a firewall to some of the crazy stuff happening. Just like if you go to the Georgia State House, Rufus, and you look at all the left-wing legislation that Caucus of the Corn passed in the House, liberal whack job stuff, right? It went to the Senate. You got two moderates there. You got Joe Morrissey and Chap Peterson. And without them, you couldn't get anything passed. And then you had Scott Serville that basically runs the Senate. He's actually running the government. And if they and all that stuff that didn't make any sense, it died in committee. It died a slow death. Hopefully we're going to have the same thing. Hopefully we'll have our Chap Peterson and Joe Morrissey so we don't get crazy stuff. Thank you, Rufus.
No, I agree. I agree. Happy New Year, John.
Thank you. Go Titans. All right, we're out of time for this segment. We've got a lot of people on hold. We'll get right to you when we get back. We're staying. Ann called me at 3 a.m., told me, you're not coming home. Dig in. Run to the sound of the guns. Stay, fight. So that's what we're doing. John Fredericks Radio Network. Sometimes you need to get hit up the head with a 2x4. That's my wife's great at that. John Fredericks Radio Network. We'll be right back.